Purpose. I tell people all the time that you were created on purpose for a purpose. You know, it might have surprised your parents that you showed up here, but you were no surprise to God. He already had your life in his heart. So take some time today, spend some time with your Father. Make sure you seek him for what your purpose is. And I promise you that the thing you're looking for in the universe is already inside of you. The gift of life and purpose, God has already put inside of you. And let me tell you, the best days that you live in your life will be those days where, number one, you're in God's will. Number two, living your purpose that he put you here for. All right, you guys, you're back live on the air with Regina Sunshine, and I'm here with my first guest of the day, Miss Linda Lindo, and I met her through Jack Trey, and she was a guest on a former Living Like a Boss show, yes. And it was such a beautiful thing for you to come and share with our men, because we were talking about your son and some of the issues he was facing, so it's a blessing to have you back on the show.
God bless you. It's a blessing to be back.
So remind our audience who you are and what you do.
My name is Apostle Linda Lindo. I'm also a preacher as well as an activist that goes out and try to help the people in prison. One of my main functions God has assigned me to is to be a voice for those that cannot speak or will not be heard for themselves in the prison system.
Awesome. So when you were here before, when you were on the show before, you were talking about your son and some of the issues that he was facing. Bring our audience up to date or up to speed on that.
Okay. Some of the issue that my son is facing is not just facing by himself. It's some of you that have loved ones that are in prison. You don't even know it, and a lot of people didn't know it. And it doesn't matter what level of life that you come from, whether you're a lawyer kid or a doctor kid or someone that lives in a big fine house. The prison system is mistreating men and women as well in the prison system, and especially the mental ill that cannot think or have issues with themselves. One of the things they are doing, if you're sick, they're not giving you medications, they're not treating you. They'll tell you that you don't have this issue. You know you came in with it, and some of them did not come in with it. Like my son, they infected him with hepatitis B, and that was because his mother was doing too much trying to bring awareness to the people out there about their loved ones. And then after they diagnosed him in 2015, they said that they wasn't going to give him any medication because the medication is too expensive. So what they do, they let you die. And you just stay there until you die. They don't treat you. They don't give you any medicine or anything like that. And that's why I'm here today, to bring awareness to people, not to judge these people that have been sentenced because they already been sentenced. Let them do their time. But it is against their Eighth Amendment rights to do cruel and unusual punishment when you don't treat somebody in the prison system that have some kind of illness. It's the responsibility of the state, and the state is not doing it.
So how is your son right now? What's the update on how he is?
My son is very, very sick, but by the help of the grace of God, that we keep praying and trusting God, that, you know, he's holding up. And he's awaiting and hoping and praying, just like a lot of us, that the law changes and they make some changes. Now, since the last time I've been here, there has been a great, great change because you have two main doctors. One is there's in the paper, Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Dr. Young, Timothy Young. He quit after 16 years when I was down in state capitol last year in February. And I was trying to tell them that this was going on. This doctor quit, and now he has blown the whistle and said everything that I told them was true, that they are misdiagnosing the inmates. And I'm going to tell you something else, too. They are selling body parts. They are letting these guys die and selling body parts. They are finding these people coming up wondering, why are these organs missing? They just cut off a man's leg, and the doctor said it shouldn't have been cut off. And they just won a lawsuit for $550,000, just to let the people know that this is very, very serious. And it's not just going on in Georgia. If you if you go on my page, you'll see a thing called Marty Swanson, and you'll see all of the things that we bring out that is happening all over the world. They're impregnating women. They're doing a whole lot of things, but they're getting away with it. There's no justice when it comes to the staff. They're not making them be accountable and liable. What they are doing is giving them more positions. They're transferring them, putting like the warden. This warden should have been fired, but they just gave him a regional position where he was making 150. He's making over $250,000.
Wow. So whenever they are being found at fault or in violation, instead of firing them, they move them to some other part of the system.
They move them to some other part of the system and give them money. To me, that's called hush money.
Mm-hmm. Because they probably recognize that if they fire them, then they're going to be, disgruntled. So they're probably going to go to the news and tell them everything that they know. So it makes sense to just move into a different space. So I keep you happy and I keep you out of the limelight, because if I leave you where you are,
yes,
and people are upset with you, then that's going to bring more attention to what's going on.
And that's exactly right. That's what's happening, because the doctor that they have in Augusta State Medical Prison is the prison hospital for the prison. They have a doctor by the name of Dr. Mary Austin. She is not even from our country. She's Asian. And if you read the history, you'll know that they care nothing about nothing. She has killed so many people up under her watch, and they would not remove her. Getting to find out that she's best friends with the second in command to the prison system, to the commissioner of the prison. So she's not going to go anywhere. They have to cover each other. The Dr. Young that resigned, he was on Channel 6 News. I was on Channel 6 News as well. Well, he's telling everything. He's saying he's fearful for his life because they're telling him not to talk, and he said he's fearful. But my thing is, isn't they criminals too? Mm-hmm. If Dr. Austin continued to kill people by not giving them medication, don't she become as a criminal? To me, she becomes a serial killer or a mass murderer. Shouldn't she stand trial? If you're taking an oath to treat somebody, and you know if you give them this medicine, it will save their life, but if you don't give it to them, they're gonna die. That's more criminal than the criminals in there.
Well, when we look at the entire prison industrial system and the things that are happening in terms of, prisons being privatized and,
yes,
people making profit off
yes,
of them, when you add in what you just said about reports of people selling body parts and things of that
yes,
nature, then you have a whole other beast.
It is. It's a beast
that has to be looked at. So it's not just one issue. There's a whole lot of issues that have to be addressed. But you're the first person. Now I've heard about body parts being sold, especially for melanated people, because the organs and everything are much stronger. But I had not heard any reports specifically about body parts being stolen from prisoners here in the state of Georgia.
It is definitely happening. One of the ladies that I work with, she's an attorney. She's a criminal attorney. She wanted to be here, but all day she was in court. Her name is Deborah. She wanted to be here too, and her son is actually in that prison. Her son died, and they brought him back. He had a kidney failure because they wouldn't give him medicine, but now she's fighting. But it's amazing how people, and I'm saying this, that you don't really fight until you got somebody down there. I would like to see people come forward and fight just because it's right. It's justice. I had another friend that was supposed to be here. She didn't make it. Her son was killed down there. He had this disease, blood disease, that only thing they had to do is give him medicine, but they wouldn't give it to him because they say his mother was meddling in their affairs. Wow. And so my son got shot with the hepatitis, the dirty needle, because they said I was meddling in their affair. When you look at Commissioner Dozier and you look at Timothy Ward, all those guys, and Randy Saul, I met with them last year in February, and they told me they was going to take care of it. They do nothing. They only like to shut you up. But there's getting ready to be a protest. We're getting ready to go downtown, yes, and we're getting ready to go there. There's getting ready to be some big things. There are some people are saying enough is enough. All they do is make money on people. So bodies don't matter, whether it's white, whether it's black, whether it's Jewish or Hispanic. It's about bodies now. So it's not a white thing or a black thing. It's a right thing now. So it's right for us to come together and make awareness and let people know your loved one down there, you need to call them. You need to write them. You need to let them know that you have a loved one, because what I'm hearing now, and I had like a list of 50 guys that was writing me. Now I think the list is maybe 10. All the rest of them have died. They have killed
Oh my
them.
goodness.
So this thing is serious. And they had another guy by the name of Randy Brown. You can look this up on Atlanta Journal-Constitution. He blew the whistle. He was taping them and telling how they was playing and stuff. So he's out of the pictures. He blew the whistle, and they hiding him because he feared for his life. This is criminal. This shouldn't go on in the justice system.
No, not at all. So tell us about the petition, because you mentioned to me there's a petition that is out right now.
There's a petition I have. I'll give you my email address, and I'll get it to you. Can sign it. Is it okay to give my email address? Linda Lindo 578 at yahoo.com, and that's LINDA LINDO 578 at yahoo.com. The petition is we're trying to get enough people so we can go before legislation, the governors, and all the people that make the laws. We, the people, needs to change the laws.
Absolutely. And the protest, you mentioned there's a protest coming up at the Capitol.
If you would call me, there's a protest that's going to take place next month. If you would email me, I will give you that information. And we need as many people as we can. We need to bombard that place and let them know. Even though my person done wrong or they did sin, but the scripture even say, he that without sin, let him first cast a stone. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Yeah. Now, if these guys have sinned and women have sinned and they've been sinners, let them do their sentence. That's double jeopardy not to give them medicine. And then a lot of them, people you don't know, a lot of them have to turn gay, tricks, and all that kind of stuff because they withhold food from them. And then they got a thing that's running in the prison that the prisoners are killing the other prisons because they become like a hitman in the prison. They got drugs coming in, the ice drugs and the stuff like that. So they put them on the drugs, and in order for them to get a next fix, they'll tell them this guy need to go. This guy was just getting ready to blow the whistle. The judge had ruled in his favor. Before he can go back to court 2 weeks, somebody went in his cell and stabbed him over 18 times, killed him. Wow. So this kind of stuff, and they saying now, the Civil Center for Human Rights has already formed a lawsuit against these prisons, Special Hayes and Augusta, because they beat them and they killing them, and it's just crazy. So that when we go and march, we're going before the legislators and let them know, hey, we put you in office. What are you doing about it? Because I'll be down there like Wednesday, and I stay down there all day talking to them, trying to make them say, it's not your son, it's not your daughter, but everybody has somebody that has been to prison, they're either in prison or they know somebody in prison. Georgia's the worst state to go to prison because they hold people forever, and they do not want to parole them because it's so privatized. They're making a whole lot of money.
Well, it makes a difference when you or someone in your family is putting a face to what's going on, because when they see your face all the time, it keeps that person not just being another number. Now it's someone who's someone's child, someone's family member, and so it, like you said, it makes it very personal, because for a lot of these legislators, it's just a bill that hits their table, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. So it's not a face, it's not an individual.
Yes. It's
just some faceless group of people.
Yes, and some of them worry about reputation versus character. Character say who you are. Reputation is the expectation of what people think you are. And so who they really are will show what they're going to do while they're there. And it is. And then I've been threatened myself. I've been told that I was a troublemaker. That's just a mama boy. I said, yeah, you're right. He's a mama boy. I'm the mama, he's my boy. You can't change that.
That's right.
But we the people have got to take a stand and let them know no more. I mean, they take your tax money and they just using it, and they get all this money. Then they killing the people. They taking all the programs out of the prison where you got a bunch of men got one TV. They gonna fight over one TV. They don't have any school. The programs, the government programs they had down there, they taking them out. What do they do all day? Nothing.
Nothing.
They-
And this is the
it's not
perfect
a real
time for rehabilitation,
That's
for
right.
education, and
Yes,
things of that
yes,
nature.
they don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
So it has become like the third world country prison. It's just really bad. It's like a gang. It's full of
Yeah.
gang and drugs in there.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to switch over just a little bit. Same topic, but in a different perspective. You know, as a mother who, you know, can share her heart with other mothers or other family members, how do you stay encouraged?
It's very, very hard, Regina. I mean, I cry even now when I, not only just for my son, but when I hear the other mothers. One boy went to prison and he wasn't even guilty. They just found out he wasn't guilty when he died, when they killed him. But I have to put God first. I have to stay in the Word, and I stay encouraged by doing for others. It keeps me encouraged that I'm not fighting just for my son, but I'm fighting for your son and your uncle, your cousin, and those that the government is going to put there, because where it starts from these crooked, the court, the judge, they already made a pact that we're going to give you so many boys to keep it running, and they get a kickback. So I have to trust God. I have to stay in prayer. I have to read my word. I have to talk to God, and I have to show love to others. That's
Absolutely. So if there's a parent or a loved one here that's listening, and you know they're feeling some of the same things you're feeling, what is your word of encouragement for them? What would you suggest they do on top of the activism?
I would suggest they find a group. There's a lot of groups out there, and even I have like a prayer group at my house, like twice a month on Saturdays. Come together and we pray and we fellowship, talk to each other, love on each other. It would give them the strength to go on. You can't. This is hard to carry by yourself, because as long as your child is locked up in some form or fashion, you will continue to be locked up too until they set free, because you're still fighting for them. You don't know from day to day what they're doing to them and what's going on. You don't know they got a thing called a hot shot that they shooting a lot of boys, and that hot shot shut down all your organ. It kill you immediately. So I suggest you to get with a group, find somebody to pray with, find somebody to be encouraged, and try to do things too, like going to the park, walking, listening to music. Because if you stay there, you'll die from a heart attack, or you'll die from just being sad.
Now, who are some of the other women? You mentioned that there were other women who've partnered with you, who have really been like a team for you. I already mentioned the lawyer. If there's some other women that you wanted to kind of mention their names that are heavily involved in this petition with you.
I would ask you to go look up. Her name is Marty Swansford. That's SWAFFORD. Go and try to befriend her. Get on her page. She has a page, and she's so much information, because she get information all around the world, everything that goes on for as the prison system. Her first name is Mori. Last name is SWAFFORD. Look her up on Facebook. Befriend her. She's one. Then we got Deborah Whitlock. She is an attorney, criminal attorney, so she's been working with us. And there's Heather Parker, and what is the other lady? I can't think of her name. Vivian Huff. But those ladies are very, very strong, and especially Marty. Get on her page, because Marty keep you abreast of everything. Don't nothing happen about the police and she don't know. She be on there all night, and I thank God for her, because she was once where I'm sitting, and she really been working with the prison system.
And I was going to ask you what difference, because when we met before, you know, you came and you talked about it, and then you were really almost a lone wolf out there trying to make a difference. What difference has it made now that you have these other women that have come along beside you, and you've locked arms and begun to move together?
The scripture says, where there's unity, there's strength. And when you come together, he said, one can put 1,000, two can put 10,000. And when I was out there then, people just kept telling me, oh, that don't happen. That ain't happening. Oh, that they don't. You remember, you was there. You heard some of the guys even say they don't do that. Well, it's on news everywhere now. I just did thing with Channel 5. So it's there. I found out, and I've always been this way, where we come together, the more we have, there's strength in unity. And when we go before any legislator, they want to know if you're the only one. Okay, it must not be happening. Now they talking to me because I got 500 signatures, and so we're strong. You need somebody. You cannot do this alone because it's so big and so broad.
Absolutely. Now, you do a lot in terms of ministry outside of
Yes.
this. Talk to us about some of your other areas of ministry.
I do a lot of ministry with women that has been raped, battered, scorned, left for dead. We're getting ready to do a retreat June the 8th through the 10th.
Okay.
And we go up in the mountains, and I do an impartation. What I do is, I don't know if you believe, people don't believe in deliverance, but I do. These women need delivered because some of them got raped by their uncle, by their daddy. I'm dealing with, even men get raped by their uncles and daddies. But I do a lot of ministering to women and help them be strong and let them know they're beautiful. It doesn't matter the size, the shape, the color, or what. You're beautiful. You're neat. God created you. And when he created you, he only made you, one of you. So I do a lot of ministering there. I travel from different churches to church, ministering to leaders as well, like pastors and prophets and evangelists and teachers, because they are still, even though they've been circumcised, if you understand what I'm saying, they've been circumcised, but they're still bleeding. And when a leader is still bleeding, only thing they can give you is blood. They cannot give you truth. So I deal with a lot of just preaching to leaders and telling them, you got to stop. You got to stop lying to the people. Stop swearing to the people. You cannot do this thing yourself. It's got to be God's way or no way at all. And what we have is too many preachers are taking the money and taking people money and taking their minds and they're using them. And then the people walk away. I just did a post that they spiritually crippled and broken, but God, the potter, wants to put you back together again. God wants you to come by the potter's house, and the potter's house is Jesus. He want to take people and mold and make them, because Christianity is killing a lot of people. My job is to bring deliverance to the house of God.
Well, in terms of the brokenness that you're seeing, is that the most prevalent thing that you're dealing with as you move around? Because that is something that I'm seeing more and more people that on the outside, they look, everything is great. You begin to have a conversation with them, and you find that they're still broken because of this that happened when I was 5 years old, or this happened when I was, 17 years old. And here, this person is a mother and a wife and doing so many other wonderful things, and you find out, but deep inside, still broken because of the hurt that happened in the past.
Yes, I'm seeing that even in the pulpit with leaders. They never got healed. Because Christianity sometimes teach us things that's not true. It's not the Bible. It's the people that teach it. They say, oh, you got to be strong. Just forget about it. No, you need to be healed. Sometimes we have to go to a professional to get healed. I'm seeing a lot of people that go out in the ministry and they be strong, and then the next minute they don't broke down. That's because they never dealt with what they need to do. You have to deal with these things.
And I'm so glad you said that about sometimes you have to go to professional, because for some reason a lot of people in the body think that mental health is not a real issue.
It is.
And that they, just pray about it. Yes, but just like we seek physicians to assist us with our physical bodies when we need healing, you can seek someone that is a mental professional to help you when you need mental healing. So, and why do you think it is? And I want your honest, but why do you think it is that people in the body of Christ have such a challenge with going to see a mental health professional?
Because they don't understand the ways of God. It's like Luke was a physician, and Jesus kept him around him. They think because they said, Jesus, 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 everything gonna be all right. But God said he came to call the sinners to repentance. He didn't come to call a lie. He said they don't need a doctor. He even called himself a doctor. So if he didn't believe in doctors, he would have never made that statement. God wants us to go, whether it's seeking a professional or come to Christianity. Luke was a doctor. I'm sure that he had to help a whole lot of people there. I believe that there's Christian physicians that you can go to, like if you got a mind problem, I've seen them, and they apply the word, and then they apply their faith. So those type doctors, yes, I believe you need to go, because all the time preachers don't understand. You don't know where these preacher level of understanding. Some of them just made themselves preachers. Some of them didn't go through the process. Some of them got saved. They didn't get delivered. They didn't get trained. So if you're listening at them and they talking about naming and claiming, it don't work that way. In that case, we can name and claim everything, and we'll have everything we want. So I believe in doctors. I believe in that. I tell you something else too. I believe when I'm doing deliverance and the devil rise up and that demon don't want to come out, I believe I call the boys in blue on you. But yeah, I believe in that. I believe it's nothing wrong with going and getting healing. Sometimes you have to go to the professional. You know, if your preacher can't help you and whatever his name is and all he's doing is telling you all right, and you know when you going home you dealing with mental issues and you feel like you going crazy, you need to get you some help. And go lay on somebody's couch. It's not gonna take your Christianity.
I'm glad you did bring that up, because that is, I'm hearing more and more from individuals about that very same thing, that they have family members who they know need some mental health, sessions or whatever, and they're just not being encouraged to go. And I think it's also our community, Black community as a whole. It's not something that is very acceptable. It's almost like a joke.
It's a religious thing.
Yeah.
It's man-made doctrine. Jesus never didn't say that. He told you, he said the well don't need a physician. He said, but the ones that's sick, they need a doctor. He said that. So there's nothing wrong with you going to doctor. What I will say is you can't tell everybody. You can't tell some of these religious folk, because they ain't gonna understand. Some things we talk too much. We don't need to tell people all our business. Just do what you need to do and give God the glory.
Amen. Well, if someone's listening and they want to support your efforts, they want to sign the petition, they want to help you get, word out about what's going on, tell them again what's the best way to reach you.
Please contact me through email. My email address is Linda Lindo 578@yahoo.com. Again, that's LINDO 578@yahoo.com.
Now, and for some of those same family members, if they're listening, what tips would you give them to give their person or family member that's incarcerated in terms of being able to survive in this current system?
I would tell you that you need to stay in contact with your loved one. That's the very important thing, because what they do in prison, they notice when people don't come see them, or they don't send them any kind of money or send them a card. They should get a card at least once a week. When they see that, it makes them very hesitant to mess with your loved one or to do anything, because they know they got family behind them. But when they see that they don't have family, they mistreat them. They do all kind of things because they already know nobody's going to come to their rescue. So please, no matter what they done or what they did, you have to forgive them, and you have to be supportive of them, and so that you can help them. You cannot help them by being angry and not doing anything. So my advice to you is stay connected to your loved one.
And I think that makes a difference across the board. I have a friend of mine that I knew back when I was in college, and one of his family members reached out to me about a year or two ago and told me that he was incarcerated. And so me and my sisters, because we all knew him, we began to write him and everything. And he told me recently that it made such a difference in his life that we all were reunited. He said, because now he didn't feel like he was so alone, because he was getting letters and everything from us, and he's getting out in October.
Wonderful.
So he sees the end.
Yes.
8 long years, and he's getting ready to get out. But when you said it, I thought about him, and he said it just made the time seem like it was so much shorter, because people seemed like they cared about him.
And it also make them feel like, just like you said, that someone care. When you don't have anybody, there's a thing called hopelessness. When hopelessness sit in, then you give up. You become lifeless. But when you got somebody there that you know that love you and fighting for you, it makes you feel like living. It makes a difference in your life. One letter is like $1 million. You wouldn't believe when a person just get one letter, one card, to know that they got somebody out there that cares.
Well, I'm getting these new thoughts as we're talking. It for a period of time, it never occurred to me that anyone would be in prison and not have anyone. And then there was a guy that came here. I can't remember his name. It does a lot of prison ministry. And after he left my show, he reached back out to me and he asked me if I would write a letter to a prisoner that he knew had never gotten a letter from anyone. anybody. He's like, I'm going to give him your book. He said, I need you to write him a letter so it's personal when I give him the book, that, you know, this person wrote you a letter and gave the book to you personally. And I asked him, I said, you mean nobody? He said, no. He had gone to visit the prison like a week or so before. He said, and that's when he found out this person had never received one letter. I think he's been in like 10 years from anybody.
It hurts. One of the things I wanted to do, I just don't know how to get it to kind of structure. I know what I want to do is just what you just said. The Holy Spirit had put in my spirit that to form an organization where we can write those that don't get letter, just write them and send them cards.
Same thing.
Just write them and say, I don't know how, but God to connect.
Yes.
And just to write them and send them a card. That's ministry. That's prison ministry. You know, and Paul, people don't know this, or if they read it, they'll understand. Paul did a lot of prison ministry. He did a lot, and that's why he was one of the greatest apostles it was. If you've never been to prison, you'll never understand. And if you have not been, don't try to understand. Just thank God that you didn't get caught, because we all done something. There are some things everybody has done that could have, in this day and time, could have landed them maybe in prison. And so I would just like to encourage you, please write your loved one. If you can't write, just get a card and just put, I love you. Those 3 words. Who sang that song? Yeah. That's Stephen Wonder. These 3 words.
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful. Those words are powerful. That's why Jesus said in his word, the 2 greatest commandments is to love the Lord thy God with all your heart. And the second is likened to that. Love your neighbor as yourself. Don't tell me you love your neighbor and you love God and you ain't loving your neighbor, then you don't love God.
That's right. You know, I was thinking as you're talking, I remember a friend of mine back in Greenwood, South Carolina, was doing prison ministry at, I can't remember the name of the prison. There's a prison there in Greenwood. It's an all women's prison. And she invited me to come out and do a session with her women.
Yes.
And the thing I remember was this, I could feel them pulling on me, pulling on my heart for love. And she told me before I got there, she said, you can't hug them, you know, you can't touch anybody and everything.
That thing I be crying.
Oh, and that's what, and I could feel them pulling on me.
Yes.
And as they were at the end of the session and they were leaving, different women, they just wanted to touch me. They wanted somebody to touch them. And I told her when I left, I'm trying to cry, I was like, that was a hard thing not to hug. And you could feel them, their hearts pulling on you. They just want somebody, just touch me.
Love. Jesus said in Matthew's 25th chapter, he said, when you didn't visit me. He said, they said, but where then we didn't visit you? When I was in prison. You see, God speaks about the prison system and the people that are in prison. You cannot forget about them. And I have people that say, well, they reaping what they sow. They get real religious on me. I said, well then, are you sowing? She said, what do you mean? I said, because if they're reaping what they sow, are you reaping? Because we all have sinned. Jesus made it plain in his word. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. So you're not perfect. We're only, if you're saved, you're only a sinner that is saved by grace. And that grace will run out. But the Bible teaches us that we have to forgive. And if we can't forgive others, neither can our Heavenly Father forgive us. And that is great. So, and that's why a lot of people don't understand why they're suffering, because they got to forgive. Learn how to forgive those, and God will forgive you.
Absolutely. You block your own blessings. You block
These people need help. They need help. They cannot help themselves, and they treat them like a pack of animals. They got them. You ought to see I got pictures of the condition. If you guys email me, I'll show you the pictures, or you can go Atlanta Journal-Constitution and look October the 21st and look at the living condition that these people, look at the operating room that these people have in. The floor is black, supposed to be white, it's dirty, and they got trash all around there, and they catching diseases and all that. Nobody should have to live in that.
No.
Nobody.
No, not at all. Well, I thank you so much for sharing your heart and being so transparent, because this is not just something you're talking about. It's something you're living, something you're experiencing. So that makes, I mean, some people would just shut down and keep it because it's so personal, but you're allowing the world to experience this with you. And we thank you for doing that. So before you go, the best thing, you got the petition. Is there anything else that you and your organization need in terms of support?
No, right now I just need the people to be there. And once the people would come out, I would love to set up a meeting and have a couple of people there that can talk to them, and maybe that been doing it longer than I have. I can only explain it from a mother's point of view, but you have people that's in the law that can tell you exactly. But I do know Amendment 8 has been violated. I would just like for the people out there to continue to find a way to connect with their family. And if you have not talked to your family in a month or two, people was getting killed down there. I do know for a fact. And they was not contacting loved ones. You don't know. You need to find out what's going on. Please make contact with your loved one.
Awesome. Well, we thank you so much for being here, Miss Linda.
God bless you.
Keep us updated on what's going on, and we will definitely get the word out. Okay.
God bless
and
you.
the next time, that your ladies are available, if you want to bring the whole team, we would love to meet the other mothers as well and hear their stories and let them share their hearts also. Okay.
Amen.
Give our audience your email address one more time.
That email address is lindalindo578@yahoo.com. LINDA LINDO578@yahoo.com. God bless you.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back here on the Regina Sunshine Show. All right, you guys, you're back live on the air at Regina Sunshine, and I'm here. And this is not a guest. This is a family member. Welcome back to the show, Desiree Lee.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're trying to catch up real fast during the break, which is almost impossible since we hadn't talked in a long time. But and I'm still trying to remember how I first met you. It's like escaped me now, because it's after a while people so long that you're like, I don't even know how we even
met, but I'm glad we did.
I am too. Well, remind our audience who you are and what you do.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm Desiree Lee. I am a best-selling author, also a publishing consultant. I help individuals around the world share their stories. In high school, I had a 3.8 GPA, 2 basketball scholarships, on my way to college in the pursuit of the American dream. And 2 weeks after I graduated, I found myself on the other side of the law and was incarcerated for 11 counts of armed robbery and 5 counts of aggravated assault. And from that, I just took the thing that I was most shameful of, the thing that I tried to hide for 6 years after being released from prison, the thing that you don't just go up to people and say, hi, my name is Desiree Lee, and guess what, guys? I am a convicted felon, right?
Yeah.
And so it's amazing on how we came from that point to God has taken the thing that I try to hide to elevate me and to glorify his name, and then now showing other people how to do it.
Yes. What's interesting is what's so beautiful to me is when I met you, you had already walked in that space in terms of you were already a best-selling author. You were already out here sharing your testimony and blessing people. But from then till now, the growth is still tremendous. So it's like a whole other lifetime. Right? Of blessings since I saw you last.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I don't even, I did not get here by myself. From that point, from there, sharing my story, it was individuals and strangers who guided me and opened up opportunities because of my courage to share, but wanting to help. And I have a whole list of individuals, and it's amazing. We call it the ripple effect, and we call it, the passing the mustard seed effect, right? And so it's amazing, but I did not get here by myself.
Well, I have to say this. I'm enjoying watching you shine. When I'm telling you, every time I go on Facebook or somewhere and you're at another event or whatever, and I'm sitting there like, like I said, I remember when she was here, and look what God has done because you've made yourself available. And because of your transparency. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
Do you believe that transparency has played a big role in the success that you've had?
Absolutely, because you never know who knows who, and you never know how that person can help you. I remember when I saw my first, one of my mentors, Mr. Dan, and I was really excited about just having a meeting with him. He's the president of the Apex Museum here in Atlanta. And my dad said, go in there with a list. I don't care how crazy it is. just have a long list. So I went in there with the list, and he looked on the list. He said, I can't help you with the house, I can't help you with this, but I can help you with the book. What I'm saying is that sometimes individuals, we got so comfortable with masking perfection or putting things and looking like we have it all together. And there's individuals that want to help you, but they don't know how to help you. So if you're not transparent in that, I remember watching John Gravy just recently on TD Jakes, and he was saying, you don't hire the person that's like you hire your weakness. So if we were more transparent of just by just saying these words, I need help.
Yes.
And then that individual or whoever you're speaking with or whatever stranger, they will, how can I help you? I may not be able to help you with this, but I know someone who can.
Well, this is a whole different conversation that I was thinking we were going to have. See how God moves things. Because I was telling even Jack before the show, when I hired my coach, one of the things I had to do was be completely transparent with her. Right. She cannot coach me on a lie.
Right.
And if she doesn't know I need help on something, then she can't assist me. So I had to be very open. This is where I'm messing up. This is where I'm messing up. Oh, I'm shining over here, but I need some help over here. And because of that, she was able to come in, and those areas where I was weak, where I needed help, really begin to build me up in those areas. Right. So it makes a big difference when you're transparent.
And it comes transparent. And if it just starts with just your coach, that's perfectly fine. But getting the courage, I think what's given me the courage, I always tell people, being courageous is not being afraid. Being courageous is being scared to death, but doing it anyway. And so if we become more courageous of sharing our stories or saying where we do, in the areas of where we do need help, then people are more likely to want to help or find different ways or resources that they can help you.
I love it. Well, since you were here last, this whole authors and business movement,
oh my gosh,
has taken off.
Yes.
Please tell me where the idea came from.
Well, it came from me being an author, and I was out here looking for resources. I was out here looking for help, how to get my books in bookstores, how to do a tour. And as I was asking other authors, to point me in the right direction, they were apprehensive of wanting to share. It seemed as just individuals, period. It seemed like it was a lot of competition. And I thought to myself, after they read your book, I never seen a reader just read just one book, right?
Yeah.
So after they read yours, they read mine. After they read mine, they read yours. And so I spoke with my mother, and I said, Mom, this is crazy. Why would people do this? The story is important. We want to get into schools. We want to do this, and this is our way in. And my mom just said, And then she said, stop complaining about it and create what you wish you had. And so what I did was created this organization with authors in business, because publishing is not enough. And it's that other side, as self-publishers are having difficulty with. They either self-publish or go to a publishing company, and then the marketing aspect or how to actually live off of that book is limited. And so from that, and just creating a whole community of authors from around the world who are selfless and understand that we move as one, that we can get there faster together than we can ever do alone. So you're saying, hey, I see you doing, you're growing, but I could not have grown that fast if I did it by myself, and leaving no author behind. And that's where it comes from. Publish now. Shoestring budget.
Honey, your name has come up in so many conversations. The word is getting out about what you're doing, and people are embracing it, because when you say what you said about after they read my book, I think that a lot of authors are caught up in that space in terms of the competition part of it, but you're right. There's room for everyone.
Right. I completely understand that this is your story. This is my baby.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to protect my baby. I'm going to feed my baby and take care of my baby. But the thing is, I want people to take a second as you guys are tuning in and watching this video and listening in on the show, and just to look back to see how far you have came. and then remember those people who have helped you in that process. So I want everyone to feel the love, the security that Justacia Jones, the lady with the mustard seed, gave me just to believe in me. So if someone calls me, I believe in your book as if it's mine. We're going to do this together. I don't care about the excuses. What are some solutions? And just emulate and mock exactly what my mom told me. Okay, so what? What are we going to do about it? You don't have the money? Okay, let's create it. Let's figure it out, a system, and do the best you can with what you have until you can do better. And once we do that, eventually it'll go. So, because I'm saying, we sit here, we say we want to change the world, right?
Yes.
But I can't reach 50,000 people and all these people by myself. But if I help you reach 10,000, and I help this person reach 10,000, this person reach 10,000, this person reach 10,000, we eventually just help 50,000 people.
That's amazing.
With just 5 single individuals who have came from a place in their life, and we just changed lives. Why can't we do that, Regina?
We
Just
can.
5. So if you help 5, and so I tell you to pass the message or pay it forward the same way I pour it to you, pay it forward. And then eventually we'll see the change. I just hope I'm alive to see the change.
Well, the beautiful thing is we've seen this model before us. Jesus changed the world with 12. Right. So he was
Come
he
on,
helped
Regina,
those 12 and then what they discipled others.
Right.
So we know what the model looks like.
Right.
We just have to go and duplicate
Right.
that model. So what has been the thing about this thing that's been most surprising to you? What has surprised you the most?
The thing that surprises me the most is the results that the authors have and how they voice how I inspire their lives. Because for me, it's normal. It's normal, and the opportunities that are coming out from it, it blows my mind because I'm saying, wow, God, me? I'm a convicted felon. I don't have an education. I started off on a shoestring budget, and all I had was a hope and a prayer, a mustard seed and a prayer. And the surprise part is me being in places where I could not imagine myself to be. And it just really makes me a little emotional because when you start, you don't think that it can happen to you. We think it's so far. And I just want everybody to know that it's not far. It's there. And this is the secret. Every great person has 2 legs, 2 arms, 1 brain. Steve Jobs says this. He said, I am not smarter than anyone else. He says, what makes me great is I just know how to connect the dots. So today, I just encourage you to just, even if you had to get circle dots, or even if you wrote on a piece of paper, all of your dots, and how are you going to connect them? And I think the hardest question is, what do I want? So what I'm surprised is how impactful of me just speaking from my heart is really making an impact, because I didn't think that I had that gift to be able to do that at one point. And I'm just like, hey, look, let me just do the best I can.
Well, the rest of us see it. You might not. I saw it the first time I met you. So I think a big part of that is being available. And then there's the hustle.
Right.
And that was one of the tips I was giving during the break is that, even when the opportunity is there, if you don't have the hustle to go out and get it,
right,
then you're still stuck in that place. And so when your mother told you, if you,
right,
create what you want, you
right,
could have said, but what did you do? You say, you know what? I'm going to do that. And it makes a difference because you took those steps after you knew what you had to do.
And it's the can, it's in the how, and also the will. Okay. There's a saying that I get paid to travel, but I teach for free. Yeah. I get paid to travel or speak for free because it keeps you, that passionate part about it. But my mom doesn't, or individuals, even my mentors, they don't just tell you what the problem is. Okay, what do we have? Step 1, step 2. Even at this event, I said, Mom, I'm overwhelmed. It's so much. I don't know what to do. She said, okay, what do we have? And so if we attack or, approach each situation that way, to kind of just take a deep breath and say, what do I have? What dots can I connect? We'll be able to see the light. Just break it down. What do you want? Do you want to make $4,000 a month? That's only $1,000 a week.
Yeah.
Which is only $200 for 5 days out of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get one person to pay you two people to pay you $97. You can get on Tuesday a person to buy 10 books for $10. And then on Wednesday you get 4 people to buy 10 books in bulk. And then bam, you got $1,000. If you want to make $1,000 in 2 hours, okay, then that means you do a webinar, right? And you get 10 people, just 10. Not this big shebang, just 10 people, $97 in your webinar. You just made $1,000 in 60 minutes. So tell me, do you really need money to make money?
No,
No, you
not
just
at all.
need an idea.
You need an
will
idea.
drill,
That's exactly
a will
right.
drive, and what else she said?
Faith.
Faith. Come
Well,
on,
you know,
Regina.
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, for a lot of people, they don't see the value in what they do. And so when you tell them,
right.
and when you tell them, just do a webinar, and they're thinking, would somebody really pay to hear me speak or to share or whatever? And so if they can get past that mindset, past that roadblock, then the sky's the limit.
But let me tell you what, I'm gonna be transparent. When I first started, my publishing class was $25. The reason why then I moved up from my publishing class to be $47. I was afraid to make more. I was afraid of not failure, but afraid of succeeding. And I was always taught that fast money is not good money. And so it was coming fast. And everybody's saying, what you're giving is way more. It was too low to where they thought something was wrong with it. Then it started becoming enough. When I went to Lisa Nichols' Abundance Now conference a few years ago, I said to myself, this is what I want to make. I want to make $2,000 tonight. I left the conference, went on Periscope, didn't have nothing together, just my link to the webinar, and I made $3,000 in 1 hour. What that told me was I was afraid. I was afraid, Regina, because that's somebody's salary for a month. $3,000. I ain't do nothing illegal. I ain't selling no drugs or anything, and I let it sit there for a long time because I was afraid to charge my worth. So you're saying, will anybody buy it? Yes, they will. Just make sure you share the results. Share the results. What are the results? What am I paying for? Be clear on your execution, right? But at the same time, you cannot be afraid. You got over your fear of failure, but you can't be afraid of succeeding. And I think that was the hardest part, is afraid of charging this price, because I was afraid nobody was going to pay for it. And oh my gosh, everybody's told me to charge my worth. And I'm like, no, this is safe. This is safe.
Yes.
Right. And so when I charged my worth, my packages went from $25 to $2,700 just to help somebody publish a book, to teach them how to publish, to a membership, to the tour, and so forth. And from that, when one person buy, when 2 people buy, it just built up my own confidence that, yes, I am worthy. I'm worthy to hold this money and spend this money. I can do it. It's not a bad thing.
Absolutely. And especially when you have the heart that you have to make a difference. These are the hands that money needs to be in. And so often, and I have to say this, so often we've been taught through religion that us having money is a negative thing. Not knowing that if your heart is right, God will bless you with the money so you can go out and change the world, because you are the one who will use the money to do great things. So the money needs to be in your hand, Desiree.
I mean, I'm telling you, I cannot go to Southwest Airlines on their website and book a flight and with $10.
No.
I'm sorry, I cannot. And I need to keep my phone bill on and different things like that. I think it's the exchange. If we were taught that our exchange was paying people in the number amount of tennis shoes, it would still be the same thing, because back in the day they exchanged sugar for salt and this, that, and the other. So I totally agree with you on that. And our goal, God wants us to be prosperous.
Yes.
And it's nothing wrong with that. And once you pour it back, and when you understand on how hard it was, and you bring it back, that's where you pay tithes. I pay my tithes. I plant the seed, and then I said, okay, you move forward.
We're moving into a season right now, Desiree, where the sower is overtaking the reaper. And I had a dream, and I think this is the first time I shared this on air because it might have been last week. I had a dream last week because, I've been seeing things speed up. Things are speeding up very quickly. And I had a dream, and in the dream, God told me, he said, be careful for every thought, not just for every word. He said, because even as you think things, they're happening.
Oh, Regina, come on.
And in the dream, I thought something, and then it happened. Immediately. Then the next day I thought something, and before I could even say to my son what I was thinking, it happened. And that's the space we're in right now. God is like, I am fulfilling what the word says right now. So this is the time. If you truly believe in this dream, this goal, Regina, this purpose that God has given you, you need to think it and speak it immediately. Don't wait for anything.
Immediately.
So what do you want? What's the big, we're going to say it right now. What's the big thing that you want?
I want to be able to help 5,000 authors every single year or more. My goal this year is 1,000, and every year I want to increase. I also want my own documentary series.
Yes.
So I definitely want that. And I also want to make $20,000 to $30,000 a month, so I'm able to help young people publish their books without them worrying about if they can pay me or not, too, as well.
So it's already on the way. Everything's already on the way. Because you had the thought, and it was already beginning to happen. So the people that need to be in place for it to happen, they're already waiting for you where God told you to be. That's the only thing I'm hearing him. Desiree, as long as you're where I told you to be, the people over there waiting for you to show up. That's it.
Wow, that is so profound. That's something, you said that happened today. I was late. I was a little behind. And some things occurred because I don't want to say take on people's problems, but when something happens, it affects me. When somebody, customer service, it does affect me, and it gets me all riled up. And my mom, she was able to see and come with me to this governor's roundtable. And so I started to say that, I'm not going to go. This may not be the time. So many things are happening. Maybe these are signs and I'm not supposed to go. So we went anyway. I was like, come on. I don't know what's there, but come on, right? So when we went there, they were talking about housing and everything else. And then guess what? You show up. You said if you just show, you had to be there, right? And show up. So I showed up. Do you know all these individuals giving me cards? People were buying my books on the spot. I'm talking about these are officials, decision makers, judge, priest. He said, I'll give you favor, uncommon amount of favor with God and with men, those who sit in high places and those who are in authority. And I'm telling you, I was in the room with all of them, and they're buying my books online because I didn't have copies of them there, and they were already purchasing. But this is the thing, the giving housing. Oh, you need a house? 3 people say, I got a place for you right now in your name. People are saying opportunities. I want you to come to speak in the DMV area. I want you to come speak to this congressional, and just showing up. And you said it's there, and so I'm in awe because you just know it was an event. But for you to speak that, I know it's divine, that it's giving me this friendly reminder that, hey, look, I don't need your help to be God.
That's right.
I don't need your help to manifest all this other kind of stuff. I don't need your help to go, farm and all this other kind of stuff. I just need you to show up.
But this has been so good. I needed this. I always say the encourager needs encouragement. You need to be around. And especially now that I moved into this space that I'm coaching so many people, that you're constantly being pulled out of you. So you need to be around, that iron to sharpen you, iron, so that you can fill back up. So I thank you. This was for me. I thank you for coming for me.
My pleasure.
And bringing your beautiful family.
Yes.
Shout out to Mama and the
That's
baby
my
over
team.
there.
That is my team.
Well, remind our audience again how they can reach you and how they can follow everything that you're working on.
Well, I'm really excited to connect with them. I really am. This has been a phenomenal show. You guys can contact me at my website at dleeinspires.com or via social media at dleeinspires. You can also send me a message, or you can just give me a call at my office at 404-919-0399. 96.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember this. I always say it's not over till I win. If I hadn't won yet, that just means it's not over. So I tell you today, it's not over till you win. If you hadn't won yet, baby, that just means it's not over. Be blessed and keep winning. We're out.
God loves you just the way you are. You are beautiful because you were created in love. You were fearfully and wonderfully made. You have the seeds of greatness within you. You were born to live a victorious life. You are brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. You are worthy of the best things in life.